Heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. You just believe, 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 believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe.
Yes, people, welcome back to the late night chat. What a few days, man. What a few days. We had a few family things to attend to. Joe had a family birthday party. I was away with my family, and you know, there's not a lot going on, as we say, but we're gonna get back to being consistent. I promise you, we're getting back to being consistent. Myself and Joe are working on a stream schedule, which we will share with you lot in the community tab, so you know when we're going live, and it's not kind of like scattered here and there. We're gonna be back. The boys are getting back in town. Yeah, we're gonna start gearing up for pre-season and all that kind of stuff. But listen, hope you're all doing very well. Smash that like button. 30 in the building already, which is great to see you all joining us. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's see who we've got in the building. Big up Briggsy. Noah says, I'll be on my big 5 soon. Well done. Yeah, 5 months soon. I joined the Discord. Well done. Well done joining the Discord. Noah. Big up Daniel Thompson, member for 2 months. Member for 2 months to kickstart the stream. We do love that. Big up to you, Daniel Thompson. If anybody wants to join Daniel Thompson and become a channel member, like Noah as well, like Sebastian there's a link in the chat right now. All of you beautiful members are massively appreciated here. You know, I always say to our members, if you're a member here, you're a prestigious person and you're part of a prestigious club. So that's all I'll say. If you want to know more, become a member, right? So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into the late night chat, man. It's good to be back. My favorite show, the late night chat. This Euros, man, it's taken up a lot of my time and energy, and it doesn't feel worth it. I don't want to talk too much about the Euros, but I'm not gonna lie to you people. I'm not hooked on this Euros. You know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling that vibe. You know what I mean? The juice is flowing about this tournament. It's kind of like I'm watching it, and there's a few glimmers of magic here and there, but it doesn't have that aura of a classic tournament just yet. Maybe it's coming. Maybe it's coming. Do you know what I mean? Like even tonight, if you're gonna take me to fucking penalties, Slovakia or whoever it was, Slovenia, go and win it. Do you know what I'm saying? Go and fucking win it, man. Don't make me wait all night till quarter to 11. Yeah, I am supporting Turkey, man. Turkey. I'm always supporting Turkey, man. They've been one of the bright sparks in this tournament. Turkey is my team in this tournament. I'm telling you, they are my team in this tournament. We will be there for Turkey. Absolutely. Arda Güler, my guy. Big up Paolo, big up Agur. All big teams are crap, Spain and Germany aside. I have Germany in a family sweepstake, so
Oh, you are living.
Yeah. If Germany win, I'm 150 quid richer. So, you know what I mean? How do Germany say well done or come on? I don't want to say it in case it sounds mad. You know what I mean? I don't trust my knowledge of the German language. But, right, listen, let's fuck all that Euro shit for now, man. I can't be arsed. Hit the like button. 50 in the building, man. Hit the like button. Let's talk about Fitzy. It's been a quiet week. Regarding Man City, but we do have a few pieces to talk about. Let's start with the Pep one. Let's start with the Pep 12-month extension, because like I said, I said to you guys for ages, me and Joe will be all over this Pep extension stuff like flies to shite until we get an answer. Because we want an answer. We want to know, is Pep staying? Is he going? Should I stay or should I go? That's exactly what Pep is saying right now. And Tommy is a great man for these updates. Do you know what I'm saying? Tommy's a great man. He's different to City Extra. City Extra will aggregate on like the official stuff. There you go, right? I need to take this seriously. Whereas Tommy's more kind of like he'll tickle your balls. You know what I mean? Tommy will tickle your balls and he'll start feeding you what his exclusives are, and you kind of have to go, oh, you know what I'm saying? That's what Tommy is. Let me get Tommy's exclusive or his info on Pep here. Where's it gone, Joe? Where's it gone? Yeah, here it is. Oh, this is City Extra. So the City Extra tickling my balls here this time, not Tommy. He says, according to reports, there are whispers in football circles about Pep Guardiola signing a 12-month extension to his Man City contract. This is good news. This is what we want to hear. Do you know what I'm saying? We heard, didn't we, Joe, last week that there was a growing feeling within the CFG that Pep would sign an extension. Now it's in the football circles. Do I want to get carried away with this? No, I don't. Because I think with things this big and this close to our hearts, you have to refrain as best as possible from getting attached and too overexcited by pieces of information like this, because you're setting yourself up for letdown if it doesn't ultimately go your way. But is it nice to hear? Yes. But something like I said, you have to take into serious consideration with a subject as big as this is that because it's as big as it is, there's going to be non-stop reports, rumors, feelings, whispers about Pep's future. Yeah, the reality is, if you hear about what football circles feel and increasing feelings within the CFG feel, nice. You know what I mean? If it's going to tip in the way you want it to go, that's nice. But you can't really allow yourself to jump the gun and go, oh, this is it. He's going to sign a new contract. Because then what happens if it goes, he's off to New York or he's not signing at all? And we're all kind of sitting here with our dick in our hands going, well, we got a bit excited, Joe, didn't we?
He wants me to say it. He really wants me to say it. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. I mean, you can read into it a little bit, because if you cast your minds back, do you remember, it might have been about a month ago now, it was quite a while ago, but there was the Ornstein piece of news where it wasn't like anything major, but it was, I think he said something along the lines of, the feeling is within the wider football world is that he won't sign a new contract. Mm-hmm. And now that feeling, even though it's only a feeling and it's not really much to go off, has changed to where he might sign on for another 12 months. I was hoping, because his current contract takes him up to 9 years, and that does my OCD in, to be honest. It does my head in. I really want the 10. I want the decade, just for the fact that it's a nice round number and we get another year. But that's kind of it. I don't really expect a long contract if he is to sign a new one. I think we are at the stage now where when you talk about players reaching this sort of 30 years of age mark where they're sort of on 1 year rolling contracts for the foreseeable, that's kind of how we handle the player side. I feel like a decade as a manager is kind of the same point as like being 30 as a player. It's a long time, especially in modern football, to be at one club. We didn't expect him to do 9 years. That was not the expectation when he walked through the door. So the fact that he's done that, he's exceeded our expectations, like on and off the pitch. So I think however many extensions that he may or may not sign, we're dealing with 12 months every year review maybe get another 12 months. That's the stage that we're at. So I don't expect a long one. And again, like you've been saying, even if he was to sign a multi-year extension, I think the feeling there is that he signs multiple years with the knowledge that he can just leave at any point. He doesn't actually have to end and finish that contract if he was to sign for multiple years, but I don't think he will. I think if he was to sign, it'd be 12 months, and then he'd see how it's going in a year. And to be honest, I only think he'd sign on for one more year, if that. I'm still kind of the mindset that I'm still expecting him to leave this summer, purely because I guess I'm just negative. But that's just kind of what I feel, because there's nothing else that he has left to prove. Does he want to go through another rebuild? I mean, we struggled enough last season, especially in the big games. And I mean, if you just look at the transfer business, there's no rumours. There's no concrete rumours. We had Danny Olmo the other day. That's been pretty much shut down. That was shut down by Romano. Like, there's no rumours. There's no, like, news on bolstering the squad, getting numbers in, selling players. It looks like, at the moment, we're just running it back. Which, if we go off the season we just had, not many of us want to just run it back, because we feel like we were lucky. We were lucky we were allowed to get back in the title race. So, and with Real Madrid going and signing Mbappe, and I mean, we could talk all day about the signings they're making. It's a very scary prospect. We need to strengthen. So, does he want to, in year 10, go and rebuild the squad and go through changes? I don't think he does. I think at that point you just call it quits.
It's about how he feels about this current squad, isn't it? It's about how how much more Pep feels he can get out of this current squad, while also plugging not square pegs into round holes, but plugging holes that aren't what he feels are long term. They're just going to do him a short term service, because if he plans on competing with Real Madrid long term, you're going into a rebuild. If he plans on having similar dominance to what he's had previously, he's going into a rebuild. It's what Pep feels he can get out of this current squad. First of all, this coming season, and then if he was to sign a 12-month extension, the 2025-26 season. So this is 24-25 we're going to. Yeah, 25-26 season. So the next 2 seasons, what does Pep feel he can get out of them? And look, I did the panel show last week with Martin, Luke, Briggsy, big up Briggsy, I see in the chat, and Tone. And I think it was Luke, Tone, and Martin were kind of the feeling that we don't need too much business. The squad's kind of fine as it is. And I think that's a very valid argument. I think you can feel that way without, anybody saying you're off your head and you stop doing drugs. But I'm of the personal opinion, I sit on the same side of the fence as Joe. I think the squad does need reinforcements. I think the squad really, really does need reinforcements. And in a couple minutes on the show, we're going to talk about the Bruno one and the Kimmich one, because I have some stuff I feel about on that I want to talk to you guys about. But I genuinely feel, particularly in an attacking sense, bringing just Savio in and going, this 20-year-old winger from Girona is going to be our instant answer to an extra threat on the wide. It's not. It doesn't sit right with me, because if you look at last season, yeah, we won 4 in a row. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. But we were bad last season. And when I say bad, it's weird, because when you win the league and say we were bad, I'm talking about the high standards that we have had for the duration of Pep's era. This has not been, though that season just gone was not our most, I suppose, I don't know, authoritarian, if you like. Like, we weren't just stamping our authority on the league and all the big. Our record against the Big Six was atrocious. Every game we didn't play with Rodri, we effectively lost. I think we actually did lose every single one without Rodri, at least in the league campaign. I think, yeah, it worked and it clicked and it just happened to work for us. We got through last season's league campaign, reaching our objective, but relying on that again, with everybody a year older, everybody, 2 or 3 injury-prone players, one player in there that we simply can't afford to not have on the team right now. You know what I'm saying? Roles changing, people unsure of if they have people have a point to prove. Jack Grealish, what's he gonna be like? What's Doku gonna be like? Who is Savio? You know what I'm saying? Who is Savio when it comes to playing for Man City in the Premier League and the Champions League? I think it's amazing how well he did at Girona, but sorry, Girona to Man City and what our expectations are nowadays, you ain't that guy. You've got a lot of proving to do, brother. Do you know what I'm saying? And then turning to me and saying, well, we have Oscar Bob. No, that's not fair either. You can't turn to the 19-year-old winger, whatever he is, 19, 20, and say, all of a sudden now we're relying on you, son. No. That's. I think this team needs reinforcements. And to circle right back to Pep Guardiola, I think if you want to give yourself the best chance of Pep Guardiola feeling comfortable to continue for another 1, 2, 3, whatever, past 2025, you need to give him the adequate replacements. Adequate. I'm not talking about Savio's. If Savio comes and he bangs, yeah, there'll be no one happier than me. I'll have a Savio shirt. I promise you. I'll sit here with a Savio shirt. But I'm saying it's not fair to rely on Savio either. How many players have come to Man City and in their first year haven't been amazing? And we all say that we usually give these young players or new players, attacking players, a season to settle in. So you can't rest your laurels on Savio. Bring me someone who's guaranteed to be good. Bring me someone who's going to elevate us from last season. Because I'm going to keep it 100 with you lot, yeah? And some of you may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. Work away. I think if we're just going to say what we had last season is going to get us the league next season, I think at that point, I think that's too much of a risk for me. I think City need to go and spend money. City need to go and spend money, and we're going to talk about the Rodri backup situation. But in terms of attacking players, the market's shit. The market's shit. I don't even know who to look at. Obviously, we could sit here and go, I want Wirtz. It's not happening. It's not happening, people. Florian Wirtz is not coming to Manchester City, at least not this summer, potentially ever. You know what I'm saying? He could go to Real Madrid when Alonso potentially goes there. He could go to Bayern Munich. Whatever. We're not getting Wirtz anyway, while Alonso's still at Leverkusen. You could say we want Musiala. That Musiala deal is, as much as I'd love it to happen, for City to just go be aggressive and say, we're going to offer Bayern crazy money, we're going to pay him crazy money, and he's a City player, I'll support a bank, don't give a shit. It's so fucking complex. It's so complex, that Musiala deal at Bayern he currently has, and the possibility of getting him out of Bayern Munich. It's so complex that City just probably won't bother. I'm going to keep it real. They probably won't bother. So there's the two big talents that you look at and say, either of them, yeah, they'd be big hitters. So who are we moving down to then? You're then moving down to your Nico Williamses, Danny Olmos, and these kind of players. You know what I'm saying? So as much as I'm sitting here banging the drum that we need replacement or we need backup, I don't even know who I want.
Well,
I'm a dickhead.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say we need loads in the transfer market. I understand.
One or two top quality.
I understand where people like Martin and Tone come from when they say, we don't need to do anything. I don't think we can sit there and do nothing. But if we get one, maybe two, I'm fine with that. I'm more than happy with that.
Surgery, Joe. You know what I mean? It's not major surgery, but one or two, real impact men will make such a difference to us. You know what I'm saying?
We could also have a bit of addition by subtraction as well, because you think of players like Sergio Gomez, what's he doing here realistically? Calvin Phillips, sat here taking a wage. Cancelo, we'll probably talk about, because he's in the title. He's come back from his loan. What's the plan with him? I'm looking at Kyle Walker so far this Euros and going, dear me, he's not improved one bit whatsoever, and that's our captain. So, there's a few decisions to be made. You look at someone like John Stones, is he going to stay fit? Edison, is he going to stay leave? What's going to happen with the goalkeepers? Like, I don't think that this squad is like in crisis or like won't challenge. Even if we do run it back, let's say we don't sign anyone and run it back, we can still win the league. Of course we can. Let me put it this way, right? Champions League. We will not win that Champions League without making any improvement to this team, because Real Madrid currently wipe the floor with absolutely fucking everybody, because their team is absolutely stacked. Especially going forward, their team is absolutely stacked. You do not beat that team unless you are a serious, team. And at the moment, we are like an injury away from going, shit, what do we do? Like, we can't afford to have a major first team injury like we had last season to anyone. Rodri's played 2 seasons, pretty much every single game. He's playing the Euros now. It's paramount. It's the number one priority to get someone in that in that area of the pitch, regardless of whether it's Bruno or Kimmich or whoever you might identify. But that is number one. Because we speak about, in terms of it being a risk to run it back because we're a few injuries away, that is the biggest risk we've got going because we've not had anyone else who can play there. And he is just coming off of 2 seasons of non-stop football, of basically playing 60 games a season for 2 seasons now. So the chance of him picking up something is as high as it's ever going to be. This guy's going to be burnt out. By the time he reaches 30, he's going to be done because we just used him too much. We've run him into the ground. So that is number one. If, regardless of whether we need to sell to buy, we don't need to sell to buy a holding midfield player. That is a load of nonsense. We've needed one for a while. Calvin Phillips is there. Apparently he's coming back early for pre-season. I don't understand what that's about. His future's just not here. It's pointless, I guess. I mean...
Go to Roma, man. Eat some spaghetti. Go to Roma. Do you know what I'm saying?
We spoke about this before. It'd be nice if he would have turned up early 18 months ago after Qatar, but he didn't do that then. So it's too little too late now. So the door's closed. Just, we need a player in that position. Calvin Phillips didn't work. So you shift him on and get someone else in. That's priority number one. And priority number two, I've seen a couple of headlines that, again, it was on City Extra, and I didn't include it in the tweets that I sent you because it's kind of hard to gauge it's kind of hard to move on from that point. I think the headline was something along the lines of Pep wants an elite wide player or wide playmaker to the team. But then again, you go to the market. Who's actually available that's a wide player that's going to come in and make an impact that we can realistically actually sign? We've spoken about Rodrigo a couple of weeks ago. Is he available? Probably not. Apart from that, elite wide players, I like Savio. I think he's starting for Brazil recently, or he started a game, scored for Brazil, which again, he's a good player, but if we're being real, his standard, at least in his first season, should be like what it was for Jeremy Doku, where it was, he comes in, he's a bit inconsistent, we let him off for a season because he's young and it's his first season here. And that's calm. That's the expectation. If we're expecting him to come in and be the elite wide player that we sign, we're in for a rough ride because we saw what happened with Doku when Grealish was injured. Doku was still in and out of the team then because it was just raw talent. Sometimes it'd work, sometimes it wouldn't. That's the same thing with Savio. You can't expect him to hit the ground running and be the main signing. He might do, but he probably won't because history tells you that just doesn't happen. And I mean, then you look at the market, Dani Olmo, because I mean, you look at the top 2 names, Musiala is just not going to happen. Vert's definitely not going to happen. The next one, then you're looking at Dani Olmo. Romano shut that down the other day, and it's like, after that, there's no one. I can't go for Paqueta because he's going to be banned. And anyone after that is just not good enough. It's not worth signing them. So it's a bit of a sticky one with the market. So I'm not surprised. I'm not too disappointed that we haven't made a move for anyone in terms of attacking wise, because I just don't see an outstanding candidate. But I would quite like to see us show a little bit. It's not like we're strapped for cash. I don't know why we're waiting for outgoings to even move on just a holding midfielder, because we need one regardless of outgoings. So I just don't know why the hold up on that is taking too long.
I want you lot to hear me out. First of all, there's nearly 100 people in the building. We're still not on 50 likes, man. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's get those likes up and subscribe if you're new around here. But hit those likes anyway. I want you to hear me out on something, people. I don't want you to jump down my throat on this one straight away. Right. This is going to be a bit controversial. I think Sancho would be fantastic for us. I really do. I really do. City have been offered Jadon Sancho. It's not going to happen. It's simply not going to happen because of the whole Pep and Sancho thing. You know, Sancho said he wanted more game time. Pep was like, you'll get what you're given. And Sancho said, I'm off to Dortmund. And, you know, it worked out for him in a way. You know what I'm saying? It worked out for him in a way. But now he's clubless. Now he's clubless because he's not going to play for Ten Hag. Dortmund can't afford to buy him outright, or they're not going to buy him outright. I think as a footballer, he would be perfect for City. I mean, perfect for City. He has the technical ability, the link-up play, and that's pending he's playing with our players under Pep Guardiola, and he's fully bought into Pep Guardiola's thing. I think as a footballer, Sancho would be. I really think he would be fantastic for us. But it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But that's the kind of player I'm looking at and saying, you know, I would like a player like that at Man City. It's the attitude. Exactly. I see a few in the chat talking about the attitude. Sancho's attitude is the reason and why he won't get back to City. Tell you what, Cancelo has a better chance of playing for City again than Sancho, and Cancelo won't play for City again. He won't. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But Sancho, yeah, he doesn't have the City mentality. He has the ability. Of course he fucking does. I believe that, Joe. But my overall point is he's the kind of guy, he's the kind of footballer I'm saying I would love have at Man City. Yeah, he has that link up, he has that ball retention, he has that ability to thread a pass and make something happen. What you saw of Sancho at Manchester United is not what Jadon Sancho is. That's not what Jadon Sancho is. He was playing at a poisoned chalice. He made a career potentially fatal error going to Manchester United. You wouldn't believe it, but here he is now. Now he's fucked. I think the best thing for Sancho in the long grass back in 2017 would have been to stay at Man City, because I think he'd be in our first team right now, and I think he'd be doing a very good job, Joe.
Well, his attitude is kind of why he left, because he thought he was better than he was.
Billy Big Bollocks, man. Billy Big Bollocks.
He was like, fuck this, I'm not waiting around a couple of years to get into a team. I'm going now because I deserve to play now. And that's why he left. Because we were kind of hot on the idea of giving him some minutes, having him around the first team squad, doing what we normally do with young players, but he decided, nah, fuck this, I'm off. And then he got to United, and he joined United at possibly the worst time. They had Ronaldo, Ego, Cavani in there, they had a bunch of old men, they were signing Real Madrid, basically surplus at that point, Casemiro, and it was just fucking all, it was all over the place. It didn't work. And then he got caught in the middle. He felt like he was being unfairly treated because of... Well, I mean, he kind of was, really, in a sense. You had Rashford, you know, playing the main star boy for Man United. Manc born and bred, red through and through. You know, you couldn't say a bad word about him. He'd be in the team. You had Anthony, Ten Hag's major marquee signing, who again didn't matter how he played, he was Ten Hag's boy, he was going to play. You had Ronaldo, can't drop Ronaldo. You had Bruno, who was I think the captain at that point, or you know, was about to take over from Harry Maguire. So he was a bit fuming that he was left out a couple of times. Was often the first player to be substituted off. It's not like he played amazingly either. He was pretty poor for United, but the unfair treatment, I mean. And then you get the attitude of basically going on social media and telling Ten Hag to suck his mother. And then going, I ain't apologising, mate. Fuck off. Because I'm pretty sure Sancho, along with most of the footballing world, probably expected Ten Hag would be handed his P45 right now and he'd be back playing for Man United. But because the manager market is so shit, they've just given Ten Hag a new contract. So Sancho's kind of just stuck there like, what do I do? Because the club that wants me most doesn't want to pay for me, and the club that employ me don't want me because the manager doesn't like me, and I don't like the manager. So he's in the report is that he's been offered to us, Arsenal, I think even Chelsea maybe. He's been offered to basically anyone who has cash because they want rid of him, and it's a cut price. It's a cut price of, what was it, 40 million for Sancho? 40 million,
but he has to lower his wages, man. The kid's got to lower his wages.
The big one there is it's 40 million, but the wages across United are giving him stupid wages. So that's a big stumbling point there. And his attitude. If you think you can get past the attitude and the ego and all of this, then you've got a player, because you saw the potential. I mean, look at how he was at Dortmund. I know it's the Bundesliga, but he had an insane link-up with Haaland at Dortmund. Like, that was the 1-2 punch.
Sancho, let me tell you something about Sancho, yeah? When Sancho was in our academy, people, this was at a period where I was big into watching the EDS. I watched a lot of the under-18s FA Cup, and Foden, Sancho, Brahim Diaz, these kind of guys were coming through. Within the club, people rated Sancho on the same level they rated Foden. Like, the two big gems coming through our academy at that point was Foden and Sancho. And then just below them was kind of Brahim Diaz. But Foden and Sancho were the two that the club held the most excitement for, the most, like, saw the brightest future for. But the difference between the two of them, what separated the two of them was Foden had the patience. Foden had the willingness and trust in the club and Pep Guardiola to say, all right, I'll wait. I'll wait for my time. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Sancho went, nah, mate, I'm the big man. You know what I mean? I've got Dortmund looking for me. I'm 17, 18. I'm going to fucking Dortmund doing my thing. And Pep said, oh, okay, if you don't want to back me, you don't want to trust me, fair enough, off you go. But people had serious, real hope and excitement within Manchester City Football Club for Sancho because the guy's ability was unbelievable. And I believe that ability is still there. He just needs to go to the right place. Arsenal could be a good place for him. I think they play football that would suit him. Chelsea, no. City, yeah, I do. But look, at the end of the day, people, we're kind of just talking shit here because it's just not going to happen. I promise you, well, you can actually forget anything we just said because it's not going to happen. Sancho is not coming to Manchester City. But the point that I was making overall was I think his style of footballer is what would suit Pep massively. Because while we're sitting here saying we would like one or two more attacking options for next season, I don't mean I want an out-and-out direct winger or I want a number 10 specifically. I'm talking attacking options like a Bernardo, like a Foden, like, you know, these kind of guys, Kovacic, whatever, play an array of positions there under that umbrella I'm always talking about, that magical umbrella of midfielders, attackers. You put them anywhere you want. And Sancho, you could do that. You play Sancho as a 10, play him on the wing, play him false 9, whatever. You know what I mean? That's why I'm kind of talking about Sancho. But look, it's neither here nor there. How arrogant do you have to be to think, you know, better than Guardiola at 17, says Paolo. Well, that's exactly what let Sancho down, man. That's exactly what led Sancho down. You know what I'm saying?
His attitude has always stunk. There's a video that I won't say viral, but if you support City, you've probably seen it on Twitter. There's a video of Sancho and Foden playing at some underage level at City, and Sancho gets subbed off for Foden, and he mopes off the pitch, head down, doesn't even high five or, you know, do anything to Foden. He just walks past him, just ignores him as Foden's coming on to replace him. His attitude's always stank. That's been the one thing that's let him down, is his poor attitude.
The thing is with Sancho, and I'll say this about any footballer who's young and has a bad attitude when they're 17, 18, 19, even 20. I'll say, look, they may have been a dickhead when they're younger, but he's, 24 now, something like that. You'd like to think he's matured a bit, and I'm always kind of like, well, maybe give him a second chance, or at least speak to him, see where he's at, like, well, what kind of a person he is. Does he hold any regret for anything he said or did, or does he realize that the way he was when he was with us last time can't run or wouldn't run nowadays? You know what I'm saying? So I would never write a player off for having a bad attitude when they're younger, and say, look, that's just them until they retire. That cloud has to hang over them. I don't think that's fair on anyone, and I say that for any walk in life. You know what I'm saying? People make mistakes when they're teenagers or young adults that they wouldn't make when they're slightly older and have more experience in life, but it is what it is. Knowing Pep, Pep's too ruthless. He won't look at it the way I will. Pep will say, sorry, son. Yeah, we ain't going back to you. So it is what it is for Sancho. 53 likes so far and 89 heads here. Let's keep liking and pushing for more. All welcome on HMTV. You're all welcome here on the show. Of course you are. Hit that like button, man. Let's try to get to 100 likes before the end of the stream, yeah? So just double check. Have you hit the like button? And if you haven't, smash it. Free to do, and it massively helps myself and Joey Boy here, and helps people find the channel, and helps us grow this fantastic community that we're very proud of. So hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and there's a link in the chat if any of you would like to support further and be a channel member. Right, speaking on signings, let's talk on the number 6. Let's talk on the backup for Rodri, because you can kind of interlink these two things, can't you? Tommy said today that before I talk about Bruno and Kimmich, let me find it if my fucking PC would load up. It's something about Rodri getting a new contract. We're trying to get Rodri to a contract until... Can you still hear me, Joe? Yeah?
I can.
All right, maybe my Twitter's bugging then. Tommy tweeted about Rodri getting a new contract.
2029, I think it was.
2029, and we're going to make him... put him on the same wages as Haaland. Is that... It's not loaded for me here. But...
It was something along the lines of 2029, and he's going to be one of... If not... Well, he won't be the highest, but on par with Haaland, he's on what? 350, 375? Something along the lines, just slightly lower.
Exclusive. City will open talks with Rodri over a new contract when he returns this summer. New deal will extend his terms until 2029 at the earliest, and also make him top earner alongside Erling Haaland. Okay, well, first part, brilliant. Rodri in a new contract until 2029 at the earliest. If you get to 2030, 2031, fantastic. Because look, locking Rodri down long term is crucial for the football side of things, for the transition we're going to have to go through when Pep leaves. Look, it's Rodri, you know what I'm saying? Lock him down. And then I saw some people online on Twitter taking gripe with the making him top earner alongside Haaland. I then tweeted, I've done too much tweeting today, man. Rodri to earn same amount as Haaland should not be a shock to anyone. It's totally deserved, and he is substantially more important to the team than Haaland is. Give Rodri whatever he wants and find sufficient backup. So look, for me, I think making Rodri the highest earner alongside Haaland is totally justified. Like, totally justified. I think we're caught in a world right now where we're so used to the bagsmen getting the headlines, the bagsmen getting the big pay packets and the bonuses, and in many ways that's fair, because you know what I'm saying, they do the lethal business where they seal the deal type thing. But Rodri's role is very unrewarding. He has no PR. You know what I'm saying? With a lot of talk about PR these days with your Jude Bellinghams and these kind of guys. Doesn't have social media. Very humble guy. Just goes about his business on the pitch, and he's fucking class at it. And I think he warrants it. And I think what I said about him being more important to the squad than Haaland, I really believe that. I really believe Rodri is the most important player at our football club right now. I really believe that. It's not Erling Haaland. It's not Kevin De Bruyne. It's not Phil Foden. It's not Ruben Diaz. It's not Ederson. In terms of the players we have in that first team squad, I believe the most important is Rodri. I think the whole deck of cards not collapses, but is significantly weaker without Rodri being that linchpin in there. If you look at Foden playing as amazing as he did, if you look at De Bruyne being as impactful as he was at times, Haaland being as impactful as he was at times, Stones, Akanji, Ake, these guys being as solid as they were, a huge amount of that stems right back to Rodri, right back to not only the way he plays the game and his speed of thought, his half turn, his touch, his progression, ball progression. It's simply the confidence he oozes into everybody else in that pitch. It's simply the comfort that everybody feels when Rodri's in the middle of the park. The lads going forward feel a lot more confident to express themselves and be creative, because they're like, look, if we make a mistake, there's a good chance the big Spanish fucker will clean up. The lads behind Rodri, the defenders, like, yeah, we are solid and we have a machine in front of us. Rodri is him. He's the best footballer in the world right now. I really believe that, people. I believe that. So this is not City bias. This is not me, backing my player, Casemiro versus Rodri or Rice versus Rodri. This is me on a level with you lot. Rodri is the best football player in the world, and we have him. So look after him. Look after him. Give him his new contract. Forget the whole romance of the goal men and the attackers can only get the big bucks. No, give this guy the big bucks, because he's as important and more than the attackers. And then find him a fucking backup. Find him a fucking backup. No point giving the guy crazy money, is there? If he's going to be burnt out in 2 years' time. What's the point giving Rodri 375 grand a week, 400 grand a week, if he's burnt out by 2026 and he can't run anymore and his legs are gone? You know what I'm saying? If you're going to get him, go all in. Go balls to the wall and protect him as well. You know when you buy an Apple phone and you get Apple insurance? That's what City need to do. They need to get Rodri insurance. So you're spending your big bucks on keeping Rodri, but you may pay the extra bit to fucking mind him. Ugh.
But, I mean, that's the main point, innit? We all want this, 2029, one of the highest earners, because he deserves it and he's so good. He's the one player that is, he's so underpaid. He's still on, 200 grand a week, I think he's on, roughly around about, and he's still fucking underpaid. Like, that is ridiculous for what he is. But there's no point giving him a contract until 2029, because he turned 28 the other week, right? So 2029, that's 5 years, he'll be 33. There's no point in giving him a contract until he's 33 if he's only going to see out those years until he's about 30, 31, because he's played too much football. It's pointless. So if you're going to go all in and sign this guy for the next 5 years until he's into his mid-30s, you must also at the same time find a suitable backup player so that you don't burn him out and that he can see out the length of his contract, because they both have to go hand in hand in this situation. If you're not going to do that, you might as well give him a 2-3 year and go, right, We'll see if we can get one in the next couple of years. We'll see how you're doing when you've played another 2 seasons worth of football. Because, I mean, that's the situation that we're in, where he had a game off because he had a yellow card suspension in the Euros, and he came back and he scored. And he looked unreal again. One game off. If he misses one game, he looks like a totally new player. That is how much football he has played, where one game makes him look completely, like, maybe not completely refreshed, but makes him look like a new player. That's how much football this guy's playing, and it's not normal. And we can't, again, when we said at the top of the show about running it back and not making many signings, we cannot expect him to do that again, because we didn't expect him to have to do it this season just gone. We thought Calvin Phillips didn't work, maybe we can get someone. Maybe we can get someone in. No, we didn't. So now it has to happen, because last season was enough. We saw what happened the last, 2 months of last season? He was gone. He was off the boil. His performances dipped because he was just too tired. Like, he's going to start the season like that because he's just played the Euros. We need someone who can give him the first few months just a little bit of in and out. He plays maybe a little bit less at the start and then picks it up at the end. Because that's when you want him. You want him at his best to end the season. You don't want to have you don't want to happen what happened last season, where he's given you his best in the middle, and then at the end you're kind of just crawling over the line and hoping to God that he just doesn't completely, get injured and has to miss completely.
No, I agree. Listen, big up to JTI for the 1 gifted membership. JTI, that is the first gifted membership on this channel in July. So as of right now, you are the king of the memberships. Professional idiot, man, up your game. You know what I'm saying? Professional idiot, up your game, because JTI is going for your crown. It tells us at the end of the month, the last gifted memberships, and it'll tell us now that you are the first gifted membership of the month. So happy Canada Day. Big up Canada, man. Big up to 6. Yeah? Drizzy, even though he's getting smoked, isn't he, by getting smoked by Kendrick. But you know what I'm saying? Big up to you, JTI.
Let's move on from now.
Yeah, you're the king of the members right now, JTI. Yeah, big up to you. Tom Holland was gifted it by JTI, so absolute king. JTI, you are the king of the members as of right now. Link in the chat. Anybody else wants to become a channel member? Like JTI is always sharing love to people, making sure you lot are membered up. So legend JTI, man. Right, let's talk about this backup for Rodri situation, because it's it kind of has evolved a bit since we last spoke. It kind of has evolved, to be fair. Where the fuck is Tommy gone, man? I keep losing this guy on Twitter. There he is. Right, so Tommy says, the real Tommy says, here it is. Exclusive. Bruno Guimaraes remains a target for City this window. There is a growing feeling around some at the club a figure of 85 million, same City went to go with Paqueta, could seal an agreement. City wouldn't do the 100 million clause. I'm going to keep it a book. I'm going to keep it 100 with you lot. Don't think we're getting Bruno G. Like I told you guys a while ago, I believe he had personal terms close to agreed with the club. Newcastle were under a lot of pressure to sell. They did sell. Now they're grand. As far as PSR goes, Newcastle are chilling right now. They're perfectly fine. So Newcastle can effectively ask for whatever they want to keep Bruno G. Now, if you turn to Newcastle and say next week we'll give you 85 M's, they'll say you're offering us 85 million for a guy we could have sold for 100 10 days ago. No, and we don't need to sell him. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to sell him. I think we should have triggered the Bruno release clause yesterday. Yesterday was the time to do it, just before they made a sale. Or whenever it was last week, whatever it was. I'm struggling to keep on top of the days. I think we've missed the window with Bruno G. If it was totally down to me, I'd go aggressive and I'd go back to Newcastle and say, look, we'll give you 105 million. I think it's worth it. I really do. You guys know how I feel about Bruno G. I think getting him in would be the best piece of business we could do this summer. Whatever about me banging on and crying here about wanting more attackers. In some ways, that's just a luxury, wanting more attackers. But as Joe says, it's paramount, like imperative, having a sufficient, proven, guaranteed impact backup for Rodri / complement to Rodri, can play beside him, which Bruno G, of course, can. But I think we've missed the boat. Yeah, release clause ended last Monday. That's it, Jay. So that's it, man. I think we've missed the boat. And I think we're going to get Joshua Kimmich. Now, look, I've heard nothing. If you're sitting here waiting for me to say, oh, have you heard anything or do you have any ITK rubbish? No, I don't. I don't. But I just feel like it's falling into place for us to sign Joshua Kimmich. Am I right in saying tonight Xavi Simons agreed terms with Bayern Munich, Joe?
I actually don't know what's happening with Xavi Simons because I don't even know if it's permanent or loan because PSG just don't really want to sell him. They want to loan him.
Let me find this Xavi Simons stuff. Because I read somewhere earlier that Bayern are either close to or have agreed terms with
different
Xavi
position, mind, than Kimmich because Xavi Simons has been playing as sort of an 8 or 10.
Yeah.
So different position, but I mean, Bayern also want Paulinho, who plays at Fulham. Again, another 6, but he's kind of a specialist. He's a guy who can play 6 and only 6. He's playing tonight, I think, Portugal. I only say I think because I was only half watching because the game was boring, but I have not seen Xavi Simons. The last thing I heard was that PSG wanted to loan him because they didn't want to sell him permanently, but he still wanted to leave because he's not interested in PSG anymore. They lost the crown piece. He's not interested.
Don't know where I read it. But look, either way, yeah, they want Paulinho. They may want Xavi Simons. It seems like they're happy to have life without Joshua Kimmich. It seemed for a while like he kind of wants to move away. He's just waiting for someone to come in and properly show interest in him. And it just makes sense. I think it just makes sense for Man City. If you're not going to go after Bruno G, if you're not going to really pursue that, go and spend less dough on Kimmich, but spend a bit more on his wages because you have to give Kimmich a good bit more on his wages than you would Bruno G. But my caveat, big up AK4P, good to see you, man. The caveat to that is I think I'd like to see the back of Kyle Walker. If you're going to go bring in Kimmich, I think I'd like to see the back of Kyle Walker, or at least very little game time for Walker next season, because at that point you have Stones, Akanji, who can play right back. You have Kimmich, who can play right back. And then you have Rico Lewis, who can play as right back as well, if needs be. And I just don't trust Kyle Walker. I always keep it real with you lot, don't I? I always say exactly how I feel, and some of you may disagree with me, and some of you may be still, romantic over how great he was a couple of years ago, which he was. He was the best right back the Premier League's ever seen, in my opinion, when he was at his best. But he's just not reliable now. He's not reliable, Kyle Walker. If you get Kimmich in, it means you have right back cover, you have Rodri cover, you have Rodri complement, and you have an 8. I think your boxes are all ticked.
Because Kyle Walker's dog shit. Honestly, I can't wait to see the back of him now. Because it's not even just the on the pitch stuff. Because he's been playing absolutely atrocious for ages. But every time I see him off the pitch, every time he does an interview, a little piece of me dies inside. Like, he needs to put down the microphone. And Kimmich is like another option. It's not. We're gonna end up in a situation where we don't actually have like an out-and-out right back, but we have about 4 or 5 players who can play as a right back, which is good enough. Like, it does the job. If they can play there, they can play there. Kimmich can play there, Rico Lewis, Kanji, Stones. Then you kind of look at it, I don't know, maybe you got someone in the academy, I don't know. But apart from that, like, we're good. We don't need Kyle Walker. People keep bringing up the Vinicius thing. I'm not having it. I'm not having it anymore.
I don't care about it. I don't care. I'm not willing to keep Kyle Walker on the basis that we're going to play against Vinicius or Mbappe. They now both play for the same team. So you're essentially keeping Walker for one fixture of the season. One fixture. Or 2, if it's a 2-legged thing, yeah? That's what you're keeping him for. Is that worth it? No. And at the bare minimum, I'd take the captaincy off him. The bare minimum. There was something today about captaincy that Pep's going to leave it up to the players again to decide who's the captain. That may hint that Walker's not going to be the captain next season, because why would they be talking about that if Walker's just going to stay as the captain?
Well, I can tell you who won't vote for him. Jack Grealish won't fucking vote for him.
He shouldn't.
After what he said.
He fucking shouldn't. I wouldn't.
Honestly, just fuck it, this guy. It's bordering on legacy ruining stuff in terms of what he's getting up to, because I don't. even if he wasn't captain, it's just far too much. He set up his own podcast. Save
Yeah,
that
man.
for after you've retired, mate. Just focus on your football, because England played the other night and they went 1-0 down because, did you see his defensive line? He's 10 yards behind everyone. He's just so brain dead. He's just not thinking. The guy's just not thinking when he's playing. I don't know. I just can't wait. To be honest, I think it's the right time to get rid of him. After the season he's just had, I'm happy for my United friends for beating us in a cup final season that he's just had. Just find somewhere that's going to take him. Company, please, come collect your brother, man. Frida brother, come get him, because it's at the point where we don't need him. And it's just better to get rid of him, because I know he's experienced, but at what cost? The guy's just not very reliable. He's not very reliable. And you get Kimmich in, who can play in that position, and then again he can play instead of Rodri or beside Rodri. That's 3 positions that he can play. He could probably play as a left back as well. If you wanted to invert him from the left hand side, Kimmich could probably play on the left as well. Not that we need it, but it's there. The option's there. Centre back, maybe. I don't know. He's a bit undersized, but I think he's played there before. Like, it's a lot of boxes being ticked. He's a very Pep Guardiola player. I know he's worked with him before, but even if he hadn't, it's still a very Pep Guardiola player. If he can play pretty much anywhere on the pitch, at least, defensively across the back 4, as a 6, as an 8, like, that is what he can do. And people were wanting Kimmich more because he was cheaper on paper. The transfer fee is cheaper, but the wages that he's currently on would put him up there with the highest earners at City. So he just, for one, would have to take a wage cut if he was to come here, because not a chance we are paying him what he's on at Bayern. It's not going to happen. So will he be willing to do that? Who knows? I mean, if Pep's there, you never know. And that kind of lines up, doesn't it, with the whole news of Pep maybe signing on for another 12 months, there being another season after the next of Pep. That kind of lines up with Kimmich, because Kimmich, for all that we've heard, he's kind of interested to see what the plan is with Pep. He wants to know, if he joins, is Pep actually going to be there, for more than just next season. So the Pep news also lines up a little bit with Kimmich as well. So I think it's the more likely, given the fact that Newcastle have navigated around PSR. That's done. The time frame for PSR ended last night, I believe. It's a completely different calendar now for those rules. So they got off with it yesterday. And I think we were kind of hoping that once the release clause expired, because there was about a week for them to actually sort out this, PSR nonsense. I think we were hoping that, they didn't manage to sort it, and that we could get Bruno on a little bit of a cheaper deal. I think that was the plan, and it just hasn't worked. And I agree with you. I don't think that Newcastle are going to go, yeah, we'll sell him for less than his release clause, even though we don't need to. Like, I don't see anywhere that it's not 100 million. I still think it's worth it, personally, for what you get. But I just don't think that 85 million is a realistic price tag, because Newcastle don't need it now. I think you could possibly get him for that next season. If Newcastle don't finish in a European place, or maybe even Champions League football, maybe he gets a little bit unhappy and maybe he wants to move on to a Champions League level club. But we can't wait 12 months. We don't have the luxury to wait that long. So if it's not now, it probably won't be ever.
Exactly. Guys, quick reminder, still over 100, or still about 100 people in the building here. We're on 70 likes. Hit that like button, man. Double check you've hit the like button, and let's try to get to 100 likes tonight or before the stream ends, whatever. Just hit the thumbs up button, man. It really, really does help. And subscribe if you're new around here, and there's a link in the chat if anybody would like to be a channel member. But look, the Kimmich thing, I'd be very happy with Kimmich. I would. You all know I prefer Guimaraes, but I'd be very happy with Kimmich. He's on €375,000 a week at Bayern, which I did the maths. It's £318,000 a week. Now look, if we're talking about making Rodri the highest earner, if we're talking about upping Ederson's wages, if we're talking about upping Foden's wages, if we're talking about potentially a Haaland extension, which we're always kind of rumouring about, he may want the wage increase too. I don't see City willing to give Kimmich £318,000 a week. I think Kimmich will have to fall into the 250, 225. Now, if Kimmich is willing to accept that, I think a deal can be done. I think a deal can absolutely be done. But it depends on how much he wants to leave Bayern and how much he wants to play for Pep at Man City. But once again, people, I want to go back to this and refer to what I said. I think it was the last stream or a recent stream. There's nothing suggesting we're even in for Kimmich. You know that? Like, we know we were in for Bruno G, and we potentially still are, but it seems a little bit more complex now. There's nothing suggesting we're actually in for Kimmich. We just know there's a deal that could be done if a few things were negotiated. You know what I'm saying? If we messed around with a few things. No one knows if we're actually genuinely looking at Joshua Kimmich, if the board are actually looking at Kimmich and going, yeah, he's an option for us this summer. It's just us as fans saying it makes sense, putting 2 and 2 together. But we just don't know, do we, Joe?
No, because we look at the situation. What we know is that he's kind of thinking on leaving. He's thinking, if another top club in Europe wants me, I will go. So we know he thinks that. That's information. And our name just gets thrown in there because we're one of them clubs. And again, we just put 2 and 2 together and go, well, we need someone in that position. And he wants to go. So you go 2 + 2 = 4. We get the outcome of, right, well, let's go and sign him. And then there's just no rumours whatsoever from any, reputable journalist. None of the top journalists that are in on this story. So we're trying to manifest it, innit? We're trying to manifest something. We're trying to, praise be to God.
If you want Kimmich at City, man, do your manifestation. If you want Kimmich to come to Man City, hit the like button.
We are on our knees. We're on our knees for a Rodri replacement. We are actually trying to manifest a signing that we have no link to whatsoever, other than the fact that the guy wants to leave and we need a couple of signings. That's it. That is it. There's no price tag being mentioned. I've heard 40 million. I've heard player swaps. I don't know. So it's kind of just people going, that's a good deal. Let's go do that, and everyone runs with it. Like it's this concrete rumor that it's like City are interested. People getting giddy because there's a player available.
And he's at the Euros now, and I think they could potentially win it. So you're not going to get anything for another 10 odd days at the very least. And he will probably go on holidays straight after the Euros for a week or two at least. So if you're thinking of Kimmich, we're probably working our way into August. Before, so we're on preseason at that point. We're well into preseason at that point. If we're looking at Kimmich, which doesn't sit great with me, I would love to get a backup for Rodri, or as I keep saying, a compliment to Rodri in for preseason. But due to the Euros, it kind of makes life a bit difficult for that, doesn't it? I don't
Same
know.
with the Copa America though, because if you think about Copa America's only just started, so it'd be the same if you were to sign Bruno anyway, because he'd be the Copa America.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. I don't know. Maybe we need to just go to Vinny and say, look, Vinny, we have this unbelievable player that we would love to offer you in a swap, yeah? He has the flair. He has the hair, the physique. And you give them a funny look when you say the word physique. And you go, he goes by the name of Calvin Phillips, yeah? He is a gem. He's an absolute gem of a footballer that suits the Bayern way. He loves bratwurst. He loves currywurst. He loves beer. And he loves pizza. Give him any of that, and Calvin will perform. And all we want in return, is Kimmich. And see what the Germans say, man. See what the Germans say. That's how
lovely physique. He's got a physique of a man that's been eating $1 pepperoni pizza in New York.
Oh man. I don't know what we're going to do. I think it's going to be one of those summers where...
Hey, listen. They still want Kyle Walker. They can have him. They can fucking have him.
Dan Walker. 2 for 1. Yeah? 2 for 1,
Sergio
mate.
Gomez, you want an icing on top of the cake?
3 for 1, man. 3 and 1. Chinese takeaway settings. You know what I'm saying? 3 and 1. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be one of those summers where we're probably not fully happy with the outcome come transfer deadline day, but we're not panicking either. You know what I'm saying? We're not panicking either. I'm sure we'll get someone. Even if it's not Kimmich or Bruno G, we'll get someone, surely, that can help Rodri some way. There's no way the club are comfortable going into another season with Rodri and Kovacic is kind of your backup there. There's no way, man. There's no way. But speaking of outgoings, it's looking like we are getting, at least temporarily, the return of Joao Cancelo. So Barcelona put up a tweet saying, latest news, Cancelo not to continue with Barcelona, which was very quickly deleted. So they may have posted that tweet prematurely, but I would imagine it's true. He's not staying at Barca. They're not going to buy him. They're not going to trigger. They're not going to opt in for another loan. So it's looking like he's at least temporarily coming back to City. I would say he will go on pre-season with us again, the same way he did last season to fucking, where was it, South Korea or Japan, one of those places, or Asia. I'd say he'll go to America with the City team this summer. And that's why it's in the title, Cancelo Remontada. I'm going to tell you about Cancelo, people. What do you know about Cancelo? I think Cancelo is one of the greatest technical players to ever play for Man City. I really do. Technically, I think he is absolutely phenomenal. Technically, with the ball at his feet, you know, in terms of ability. But he has that Sancho bad attitude, and he stinks defensively. Combine all that together, City will want rid of him. He's costing us 225 bags a week. If we're talking about what we could give to Kimmich, if you can relieve yourself of Cancelo's wages, you're giving yourself a good chance at offering Kimmich a decent bag. I don't know, Joe. What do you think about Cancelo?
Same thing I said this time last year. Fuck him off. I want to see the fucking back of it. You cannot, right, as a player, fall out with one of the greatest managers of all time. In a season where we went on to win the treble, he was fucking pissy because he weren't playing for a couple of games. So you're not happy with winning because you're not the main guy. Okay, mate. Fuck off. See you later to Bayern Munich. Knocked him out of the Champions League. Won a treble. What does he get in return? Comes back with his tail between his legs for pre-season. Then goes, I want to go to Barcelona. Sends him to Barcelona. And then they can't stump up the cash. So now we're stuck in the same situation we were just a year ago. Where this guy is just stuck here. Because nobody wants him that can afford him. The only place that can is Saudi. And I don't think he's keen. Which is a shame. Because that would be a very... That would be a very, very easy way out of basically saying, look, because we only want about 20 million. Well, that's what Tommy says anyway. 20 million for this guy, and Barcelona still can't afford it. They want another loan. Fucking cheap bastards. So,
Is there a world where...
No.
I asked the exact same question last summer. I did. I think I asked Jordan at City Extra the exact same question. Is there a world where Pep goes, you know what, yeah, all right,
No.
if you apologise and kiss my shoe, you can come back.
No, bridges are burnt. Because it's not just Pep. It's the players as well.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's not just Pep. It's everyone involved. Like, no, there's no way back for this guy. You do not fall out with the manager. He literally didn't play for, what, a couple of games? Rico Lewis came in and played really, really well. It was a couple of games. And he refused, instead of doing what he should have done, right? Which is what everybody else in that squad would have done, and all the top professional players in that squad would have done, and got their head down in training and worked hard, got themselves back in the team, showed them why they were so good and got back in the team. Instead of doing that, which is what he should have done, he decided, nah, fuck this, I'm going to go knock on a manager's door and go play me. This child should not play instead of me. Fuck out of here. Honestly, attitude stinks, and he's gone against the manager, and when you go against the manager, you go against the players. He basically quit on the team because he wasn't in it, and he was unhappy. And then we sent him out and knocked him out of the Champions League, and he got a very, very, very... You remember this? Because he got subbed on. He got a very bad reception when he got subbed on in that first leg against Bayern. Boos. Fans don't like him anymore either. So again, it's not even enough apologising to the manager or the players. Fans don't like him. They don't like him.
I think I might have told you this story before, Joe, or maybe the chat as well, about Cancelo. When we first signed... Yeah, I'll say it again because we have a lot of new subscribers since then. When we first signed Cancelo, obviously Danilo went the other way. We got Cancelo. I was working in an Italian restaurant near my house, and they were all the staff were Italian except me. You know what I mean? I became Huino. You know what I mean? I became Italian for a year or two. Anyway, they were all big Juventus fans. And one of them comes up to me and he goes, man, you've got a real player off us, like a serious player off us. But, and I went, oh no, what's the but? He goes, his attitude stinks. Like, he will fall out with someone in the club eventually. You know what I'm saying? He will fall out with someone eventually, but he's a serious baller. You know what I mean? If Pep can keep him in order, you've got a serious baller on your hands. And then lo and behold, he fell out with a few people, didn't he? But yeah, look, I agree. The attitude thing doesn't run with Pep. You know, it's our whole dressing room and our whole success has been built on unity. I think it's fair to say a lot of it is down to unity. No one in the dressing room feels superior or inferior to anybody. It's a fair playing field in terms of challenging for a position, and Pep very much works by that, and he showed that when he picked Rico over Cancelo consecutively back then. And if you don't back that philosophy of unity and everyone's equal, you know what I'm saying? We all wear the same color shirt type thing. Get the fuck. You know what I mean? Get the fuck. Sancho, off you go. Cancelo, off you go. You're back. Off to Barcelona. You're back. Off you go again, wherever we can find. Do you know what I mean? Wherever we can find a home for you. It just ain't going to run. It just ain't going to run. Cancelo back at City. And look, we got, what was it, 8.5 million from the sell-on clause for Douglas Luiz. If you could sell Cancelo for, Tommy says 25 million we're asking for. So you're looking at what, 33.5 million you've got there from sales via Cancelo and Douglas Luiz. You're relieving yourself of 225,000, which you were paying to Cancelo. So you've raised 33.5 million and 225,000 space for incomings. You're going a long fucking way to sealing a deal for Kimmich at that point. You really are.
Just kind of, it depends who wants Cancelo though, innit? Because that reputation of him being a spoiled brat and a crybaby has followed him everywhere. That is Cancelo as a player. If you ask a journalist or anyone who knows Cancelo, they will say the same thing now, because this has happened at pretty much every club he's been at. If he's an unreal football player, but his attitude is cancerous, it stinks. It's the worst thing about him, and you cannot get away from that. I think there was a piece about a year ago, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was something along the lines of the whole world has to, in his head, the whole world has to revolve around him. As soon as it's not Cancelo, that's when the problems start. Because in his head, he's more important than he is. And when he started to get pissy because he wasn't playing for a couple of games, it didn't sit right with him. Well, I'm sorry to say this, mate, but it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to us that season, because we got rid of you and went on and played 4 centre-backs and won a treble. So, see in a bit, mate. We don't need you. Like, go find a new home, because it's very rare that Pep takes a player back. It's especially rare that Pep takes a player back when they have had a falling out. Like, we speak all the time of somebody like Kimmich is the prime example. How often does Pep work with the same player twice? That's why I've kind of gone Kimmich. And then when people mention Gundogan, because Barcelona apparently need to sell him for FFP, I kind of go, well, Pep's not going to take him back. There's no chance he takes back a player that he's had a falling out with. It does not happen.
I think Pep would work with a player that he's worked with before, not a player he's sold before. If that makes sense. He'd work with Kimmich because he never sold Kimmich. He was always happy playing with Kimmich. He made Kimmich. But if he sells Cancelo or gets rid of Cancelo or falls out with him, you're not coming back. If he gets rid of Sancho, you're not coming back. I think that's more like it. I can't imagine Pep's like, look, I'm not taking Messi back because I worked with him before. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. Or I'm not taking Xavi in his prime because I worked with him before. You know what I mean? It's I think that's where we're at. Got a couple super chats here. Oh, my favorite main road dickhead. Big up Martin at the Mancunian Way. Member for 2 months. Got the silver badge. Big up to you, Martin. I hope you're doing very well, man. I watched you on LB's show earlier on. The debate you guys had over the City Goats was it was entertaining. Definitely entertaining. I'm looking forward to hopefully joining you when you get to do it properly in the next week or so. Big up to you, Martin. Appreciate your support being a member for 2 months. We have 3 super chats from AK850. Big up to you, AK850, man, for the support, man. We massively appreciate you here, brother. He comes in with a 10 first, says, let me say something about Kyle since I was driving. How he had Vinicius Jr. on lockdown was legendary. It was, but I couldn't agree more. He's awful now. Thanks for the memories, my brother, but F off. He goes on to say, if it was me, I would have drove Kyle to Munich last summer. And as for Joao, no way in nine hells does he play a competitive match for City ever again. Don't misunderstand. I love Kyle as a player, but it's time. I think you're speaking facts. Hit the soundboard, Joe. I think you're speaking facts. Man. Yeah, man. I think he's speaking facts. Look, as fans, it's very easy for us, and I'm a victim of it myself. I'm guilty of it myself for getting very sentimental and emotionally attached to players. And for a long time, I was emotionally attached to Kyle Walker. I loved him. He was, like I said, I believe at his prime, he was the best right back the Premier League's ever seen. But something City pride themselves on, and we've always done really efficiently, was letting go of players at the right time, not overstaying. And in my personal opinion, if I'm being extra critical on it, I think last season was over your time. Do you know what I'm saying? I think this summer is the perfect time for Kyle Walker to go do your podcast, enjoy your time with your new kids, whatever, how many years you have, and try
10.
a new challenge. 10, whatever. Try a new challenge. But I think for us, for what we need moving forward, it's better and more reliable than Kyle Walker. And as we keep talking about in this stream, Kimmich can play there. We have Stones, we have Akanji, and we have, of course, Rico Lewis. I don't think we need Kyle Walker in his current form. Kyle Walker at his prime, we can both agree, Joe, walks over any of those players at right back. Any of them. I take him ahead of Kimmich, take him ahead of Rico, of course, and Stones and Akanji. Agreed?
Yeah, cool, but it's been a good couple of years since he's been in his prime.
Exactly. So it's time to go. It's time to go, man. It's time to go.
It's time to go. I don't have that one on the soundboard, but I mean,
Play it, man.
like,
Play it.
I don't have it.
Okay, then play the brother. Play something.
Play something. Okay, let me find this. Brother, No, I think the writing was on the wall last season after we won the treble. Writing was on the wall then for me personally, because if you look at that running, did he play? I think he played against Madrid because they had Vinicius. Apart from that, you look at the games, Arsenal games. You look at Champions League final, he was on the bench. Like, the guy just wasn't first choice. Kanji was playing ahead of him. Ake was ahead of him. Stones, Diaz, they were all ahead of him in the pecking order. He even had Rico Lewis playing at times. He wasn't ahead of him in the pecking order by no means, but he was playing ahead of him. So I just kind of think that where the writing was on the wall there, the biggest game in the club's recent history, Champions League final, one of the leaders in the dressing room, and he's on the bench. And he openly said in the treble documentary that he was disappointed that he was left on the bench.
Oh, you would be.
But yeah, he would be. But that was the sign of it just doesn't fit anymore. He was on his way down, and then for him to go from not starting a Champions League final to then being the club captain and starting week in, week out, it was completely the wrong decision. I know the players vote for it and they voted him as captain, but to go from not playing, not starting, not being one of the first names on the team sheet to club captain, it just didn't sit right with me. It just didn't.
In hindsight, it's kind of weird that we gave the captaincy to someone who wasn't on the pitch when we won the Champions League, isn't it? You would think, just I don't know, maybe I'm thinking into it too much, but you would think one of the lads that won the Champions League that day, De Bruyne, Diaz, Rodri, you know what I mean, would have been who got it over the line. Would have been one of the captains, but maybe I'm just thinking into it too much. But yeah, look, AKA 50, absolute facts, man, absolute facts. Big up for your 3 super chats. Okay, let's chat about it quickly. I do want to talk about De Bruyne very quickly as well. Me and Joe, we're night owls. You know what I mean? We both stay up very late, so we have nowhere to be for the minute. And Joe loves chatting to you lot, so he won't mind me holding on to him a bit longer. Let's start first with the captaincy. I think Kyle Walker is going to get his captaincy taken off him. Do I think he'll be sold? I don't know. Maybe not. But in terms of captaincy, the fact that we're hearing today that Pep is going to leave it down to the players again to decide who the captain is next season would suggest there has been conversations over taking captaincy off Kyle Walker. Because like I said earlier on, Joe, if we were just planning on letting it be as it was, why would we even hear about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, when we've had captains before that haven't left after the first season of being captain, which isn't many over the last couple of years, there's never any, the players will vote on a captain. It doesn't happen. Okay, captain's captain. They normally stay on. But I think, again, it puts it into perspective. I think he's that bad as a captain. And the things that he says and his performances and just everything around it, that it warrants there being a brand new decision on whether to keep him or get someone else in. Because he said some of the things that he did say, considering obviously he had a significant amount of the media duties because he was the club captain, but some of the things that he actually said was some of the worst things that you can say as the captain of a football club. That Man United comment of "I'm happy for my mates" will stick with him forever, because that is possibly one of the worst things he could have said as the captain of the football club, is saying that you're happy that your biggest rival has won a trophy because you got a few mates on that side. That is going to stick with him forever. You cannot say that as a club captain of a football. Could you imagine if Ødegaard said that? Could you imagine? I'm going to play it as I'm speaking. Could you imagine?
Brother,
Could you imagine if Martin Ødegaard said that about Tottenham? Or if, who's Liverpool captain now? Virgil van Dijk said that about Man. They wouldn't say it. Of course not. They wouldn't go out and say, I'm happy for my mates on the other side. I'm happy for my fellow countryman Ten Hag for winning a trophy. Van Dijk wouldn't say that. He'd be like, no, I'm fuming we lost. Captain Kyle Walker's like, Rashford, yeah, go on, mate. Solid. Mainu, yeah, go on.
Slam in the chat. And Slam, we are going to read your super chat after this segment, but he says in the chat, imagine Keane saying that. Imagine Roy Keane saying that. No way.
They don't. Any other captain that we've had, Company, David Silva, Fernandinho, Gundogan, whoever, they don't say that. They don't say that comment, but he said it. And it's just, I don't know, heads would roll. And then you get round to the England side of things where he's going, I don't think Jack Grealish, should have been picked. I'm not surprised he wasn't picked. You are his leader. You are his club captain. And you've thrown him under the bus publicly by saying, yeah, I'm not surprised he didn't make the England squad. You as a captain should be backing your players and going, he could have made it. And I'll say even if it's just some PR answer, back your players, back your teammates. Well, no, he didn't do that. And then he started his own podcast, which pissed me off. And everything else off the pitch where he's getting it out in pubs and going to newspapers about it, and he's having 2 different families. Like, it's just so many distractions. And then let's move all that aside. Just talk about his play, his on the pitch stuff. Does he inspire you as a leader by performance? No, the last season was horrible. Does he inspire you as a leader in terms of commanding respect from other players? I don't view him as a natural born leader. I really don't. He's a soft spoken guy from fucking Sheffield. He doesn't intimidate anyone, or he doesn't, strike me as the type of guy who's going to motivate anyone. He doesn't. It doesn't for me. I've watched enough documentaries of, the behind the scenes to look at Kyle Walker and go, just for me, no one. It wasn't even in my consideration for captain when he was given it.
I agree. Look, listen, we've had this conversation and we're in the same boat. You know what? Put a poll in the chat. And tell me your answer as well while you're doing it. Chat, get involved in this. Joe's going to put a poll in. Man City captain next season, yeah? How many options do we get, Joe? Is it 4 or 5?
Oh, I don't know. Should we see? Start a poll. How much? Just name off some names in the order that you want them on, and then
right. We'll put Walker in.
Okay, yeah, put Walker.
De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Diaz and Rodri.
Diaz. Yeah, I get 4 options. Diaz,
yeah, well then leave it.
Rodri.
Leave it at that. Put that poll in. Right, Joe or chat. Joe's put a poll in the chat. Walker, De Bruyne, Diaz, Rodri. Who would you vote for? If you're in that City dressing room, yeah, I see you all. Base Kirby, Andrew W, Slam. Who else have we got? Briggsy, CTID. Yeah, all you lot. Pretend you are City players for the minute. Yeah? And cast your vote for the club captain. I want you to cast your vote. And Joe, tell me yours.
For me, there's 2 acceptable options. My choice would be Kevin De Bruyne. He's the most senior member of the squad. I don't know whether he wants it, but for me, I look at him. He's the most senior member of the squad in terms of he's been here the longest. He's the only player that Pep didn't sign. He was already here when Pep got here. Apart from Foden, but he was in the academy. But he's the player. He's the guy who's been here the longest, and most of that squad will already look to him anyway, in terms of what to do. They will just gravitate towards him. He's a leader by example. Again, people will look at his performances and just he's the best player the club's ever had. Of course, he leads by example, and again, people will look to him during games, halftime, whatever, and they will take what he has to say on board. I don't think he's maybe. Again, when I think of a leadership, I don't know how commanding he would be, but when he gets angry, he gets angry. Let me talk. Let me talk.
Let me
So,
talk.
listen, he'd been my choice. I think the other one, I know he's one of the younger ones, but I'm just looking. Ruben Diaz is the most natural leader that we have in the team. Like he just,
I pick one,
he's
Joe.
that
Fucking
guy.
hell, man.
But my vote was for Kevin De Bruyne. You say he might not want it. I don't think he really wants it either because he just kind of has the armband every now and again. I don't really think he's like too asked about. I don't think he's bothered, but he would be my choice.
If De Bruyne got it, I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd be perfectly fine with that. I trust De Bruyne because I think he's a very professional guy. But I really like the idea of Ruben Diaz. I really like the idea of giving it to him. He's what, 27 now, something like that. We could have him as captain for the next 7-8 years. You know what I mean? A proper long-term captain who would be our club captain when Pep leaves. You know, lead through transition. When things maybe aren't as glamorous as they are now, and we need someone like Diaz. And De Bruyne's not here anymore. Type thing. I really like the idea of Ruben Diaz being given, right, you're now the captain, and because you're still young enough, you can play as captain for a long time. And I think he would really embrace that role. I think Diaz would thrive in the role of being captain. I think I'm fully behind Ruben Diaz being the Manchester City captain. In a bit, Briggsy, man, I'll speak to you later on in the week. Only thing is Diaz, he's not always first 11. Yeah, maybe, but I think he will be next season, to be honest. I think he will be next season. It was just a difficult season all around for a lot of players last season. My vote's with Diaz. Joe's with De Bruyne. I wouldn't be disappointed at all with De Bruyne. I'd be perfectly happy with either, essentially.
By the way, just I haven't ended it yet, so I don't know the actual votes. There is not a single vote for Kyle Walker of 27.
Sorry, Walk, mate.
There is not a single person who's voted on this poll in the chat that wants him as the captain again next season. So I get that's how bad it was. That's how bad it is. And again, it's another weird reason, right? Because it's weird having him as being voted the club captain after he didn't start the Champions League final. He's given the club captain. It's weird after all of that, right? And then you remember that season where Gundogan was captain, we won the treble. Kevin De Bruyne was vice captain. You kind of expected it to just shift up the order and go, right, vice captain is now the captain, and so on and so forth. You get a new vice captain. Now Kyle Walker just jumped the queue and became the captain, and so maybe De Bruyne just doesn't want it. Maybe that was the case where he's like, don't vote for me as captain. I don't want it. I'm happy being vice captain. Whatever. I don't want the armband. It's not me.
Well, that's it, man. We like for people who are saying give it to De Bruyne. He may have said I don't want to be club captain, and that's fine. He may just like the role he has now, where he's a senior player. He's part of the leadership squad, and he's a great footballer. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, I think some people are saying Rodri. I can get behind Rodri, but I don't know if I want to put any more responsibility on him. And that's me just simply looking out for him. If it was given to him, I wouldn't be like, fuck, why would we give it to Rodri? But do you kind of get where I'm coming from, Joe? I don't know if I want to put any extra responsibility on Rodri. He already has the weight of the world on his shoulders. I don't know if we need to give him that other 10%. Do you know what I mean?
No, and again, I've also watched the treble documentary, and he's just like trying to give an inspirational team talk, and I can't help but just go, I don't really get much inspiration from him. He's a little bit soft-spoken, and he just sounds too nice, almost. Because he's just a nice guy, and he's humble, no social media, all that. But I also get the other side of where people will say, well, he plays every single game. He just plays every single game, 90 minutes, week in, week out. Only player that does. I mean, part of that is because we have no one else. But he's the most important. So why not give him the captain's armband? If he's the most important player, most crucial player to how we play and us winning things, why not give him the armband as well? But he doesn't need no more stress in his life. He doesn't need it. So they're all acceptable options, apart from Kyle Walker. He is not an acceptable option. There's been a couple of votes for him since I said there was none. So, no.
Okay. Right.
He's the only not acceptable option. There's a few other names you could throw in, but I don't really think they're worth talking about. You could throw Foden in there, but he's not really a leader.
We're going to end the poll in about 1 minute. So if you want to cast a vote, there's still 83 in the building. Just want to do this quick plug. hit the like button, cast your vote if you want to do it now. Hit the like button, people. We're on 86 likes, so we're 14 off 100. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Welcome to the community if you haven't subscribed already. And there's a link in the chat if anybody wants to become a channel member. All our channel members, really, you do help support us massively, more than you can believe. More than you can believe. So if you want to help support me and Joe, we're a two-man band, you know what I mean? Hit that link and become a channel member tonight, and you know what I mean? You'll be an absolute legend in our eyes. Right, Joe, end the poll. Let's see who the crowd voted for.
Do you want to handle the super chat?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, I was going to do that for the next segment.
Oh, well, I can end the poll now if you want.
Yeah, end the poll.
End the
Slam, we're going to do
poll.
your super chat in a sec.
End the poll. Okay, right. The results are in. The poll is saying 31 votes, 41% for Rodri, 29% for Ruben Diaz. He's second. Kevin De Bruyne, third. 22% Walker, 6%. Pretty sure that means he got 2 votes. So 2 people said Walker, and you know the rest were kind of split. Rodri was the main favourite. Diaz and De Bruyne are kind of level, but Rodri the overwhelming favourite, and nobody really wants Kyle Walker back.
All right. Okay. I can understand it. I can understand people voting for Rodri, you know, because he's Rodri and he plays every game and he's reliable. Like I said, and I think Joe feels the same, wouldn't be disappointed at all if Rodri's given the armband. I'd be perfectly comfortable with Rodri being our club captain. And you also have to throw in the fact that we're about to give him a new contract till 2029, maybe 2030. So he could be around for a long time to be club captain too. So yeah, Rodri, Diaz, De Bruyne, any of them I'd be happy with. But I'd personally cast my vote with Diaz. But yeah, I hear you, chat. We hear you. We hear you. Right, let's keep a step into the last segment of the show. Extra long show tonight because, you know, we haven't been around for a couple of days, so we want to give you that little bit extra content to all you loyal viewers. Big up Slam with the 20. Love that Slam with a 20. He says, here's the funds for KDB lifetime contract. Slam, I love you, man, for sending $20 like that. Absolute legend. But my gut tells me we'll need a little bit more to keep Kevin De Bruyne for life. But it'll go a long way. It'll go a long way, brother. Massively appreciate that. De Bruyne, I don't know, was it today or yesterday? He kind of confirmed himself that he's staying at City this season, that he's not going anywhere. I've been under the impression, and I think he said it himself a few times over the years, and it might be so long ago that we've kind of forgotten, that he does want to stay and retire at Man City. He wants to retire at Manchester City. So he's not really desperate to go. You know, he has kids, he has a wife, he has a house in Manchester. He's very happy. He's revered. He's done 10 years now. He signed in 2015, so he's going into his 10th year at the club. He's going to get a statue. In my opinion, he's the greatest player the club's ever had. I know some of you will have your own opinions, as Martin did earlier on. He believes it's David Silva. Older heads will believe it's Colin Bell. Depends where you're from or what era you're from, and so on and so forth. But my opinion, he's the greatest player the club's ever had. Yeah, his oldest has a Manc accent, exactly, Slam. He's Manc. Do you know what I mean?
Company had a Manc accent when he left.
He did, yeah. I remember when Company first signed, I was like 7 or 8, and he was this like French toned, like voulez-vous français type speaker, do you know what I mean? And now he's like, all right, kid, you know what I mean? You're going down Greg's for a sausage roll type conversation. Question, when the Kevin De Bruyne statue is built, which pose would you want it to be? Oh.
He has a couple.
He has a couple, yeah. Maybe the one from the Bernabeu goal?
It'll probably be a knee slide. He does love it. He's done a couple of knee slides before.
Yeah, he did a knee slide when he scored against Madrid that night in Bernabeu, didn't he?
Yeah, it'll probably be a knee slide of some sort, I would guess.
Yeah,
will it be from his time when he had the long hair in the season just gone, or will he have the short hair on the statue?
I don't know.
Surely it'd be the short hair, because David Silva had the long hair.
As long as he doesn't look like Tony Kroos, like Aguero statue does.
Yeah, as long as they fucking nail the statue this time, and it actually looks like who it's supposed to be.
The thing is, the Colin Bell, Mike Summerby, and Francis Lee statue is sick because it's an actual, traditional looking statue. I like the Company one, I like the silver one, but I think they made a bollocks of the Aguero one.
Yeah, David Silva kind of looks a bit like Modric. We've got Modric and a Kroos statue outside the ground. We did put on Madrid.
We're showing more respect to Madrid legends than actual Real Madrid.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah,
but It's a good question because I don't actually know because with the company one was quite easy because it was obviously the last goal that he scored that was quite easy. The Aguero one was quite easy. It was that was fucking obvious, wasn't it? David Silva maybe a bit more difficult, but I don't know with Kevin De Bruyne. I really don't know. Is there a way that we can make it like the part of metal that's on his face just really red because he always goes red in the face? Cheeks are always really red. We do that. I don't really, that's kind of the most iconic it's got, really.
I think, as Mr. Fro says, the Bernabeu goal on his knees.
Yeah.
I would think it'll be unless he has a really iconic goal this season, like he does something mad this season. I would think the Bernabeu goal because I don't actually remember from the you couldn't really give him a statue from the Gundogan game, could you? The Villa game because it's Gundogan's kind of game, wasn't it? And I know he got the assist for the winning goal, but I don't remember his celebration for that. I just remember Gundogan sliding into the East Stand.
I can remember the 21 that he did for David Silva, but it's not really. You remember when he scored against Tottenham? But it's not something to do with him, is it? But that's kind of like as iconic as celebrations have really gone.
I think the Bernabeu. I think the Bernabeu one.
So it has to be something from the Bernabeu. He scored against Madrid a lot.
Yeah, he loved the goal against Madrid, Kevin De Bruyne. Still does. Maybe we'll get one next season. Any player from the Euros that impressed you enough to play for City? Lamine Yamal.
That Portugal goalkeeper, the night just gone, to save 3 penalties. Yeah, I think it is. That guy looks good, but do we need a goalkeeper?
Bro, do you want to know something funny, man? Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
Always at war with the Arsenal fans. Yeah. I love winding them up. They're the most sensitive little pussies on Twitter. Yeah. I know plenty of cool Arsenal fans, but the Twitter Arsenal fans are particularly soft. Yeah. Sensitive sallies. And they believe they're like Liverpool. They believe the world revolves around them. Yeah. So I tweeted about the goalkeeper tonight after he saved the 3 penalties. I said, "What drug test is keeper immediately? Who is he?" Comments flooded with Arsenal fans. He's the man Arsenal scored 5 against. 6 if you include Trossard's goal. He's the Porto GK who didn't stop a single penalty against Arsenal. Bro, no one's talking about Arsenal. What are you doing? Get out of here. You pack of losers. No one mentioned you. Who invited you? This Rui Costa's moment. You're trying to make it about fucking Arsenal.
He literally made history.
You're irrelevant. Irrelevant. You've won nothing of any note for 20 years. Stop butting in for another man's moment. Loser.
Literally made history tonight. I think Romano tweeted it. He's the first keeper to save 3 penalties in the shootout. I don't know whether that's Euros or what. I actually need to find this because I did kind of see. First goalkeeper ever to save 3 penalties at the Euros. And he also did, remember Sesko was 1-on-1 and he saved that as well. Extra time.
Yeah.
Like, first goalkeeper to save 3 penalties in a shootout in the Euros. He made history and you're going as if to say, oh, drug testing, what a fucking performance. And Arsenal fans are like, yeah, but he didn't save any of ours. Mate, he got knocked out in the next round. What the fuck?
He's just outperformed in half an hour any of your players at the Euros. Any of them. Yeah? So shut up. Honestly, the Arsenal fans on Twitter are the biggest sensitive crybabies ever. And they get really personal and nasty. They can't hop into my comments without calling me fat. And it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? It's like, fucking hell. At least talk about football or slate my opinion. You don't have to go straight to my fucking beer belly. Do you know what I mean? They're just a pack of whining losers, man. On Twitter. Honestly, if I could give any advice to you lot, stay away from Arsenal Twitter. Stay away from Arsenal Twitter. Absolute mutants, gremlins. Yeah, the most annoying of the most annoying. Yeah, they're gonna say Saliba pocketed Kevin De Bruyne. I don't give a shit. I was praising Saliba to Joe in our chat earlier on, and I said to Joe, and I think Joe agreed. I think Saliba has Real Madrid written all over him. And when that day comes, I will laugh. I will say, "There's your Arsenal pull. You losers." You get me?
You get me? Well, we kind of, again, we're putting 2 and 2 together and getting 4, really, aren't we? We're putting the fact that Real Madrid's defence is old, combined with the fact that they've got multiple Frenchmen. We're putting that together and going, if Arsenal don't dominate, Saliba will probably be swayed by Real Madrid in a few years, because that's where Real Madrid's next big signings are going to be, in defence, because they do not need any more attackers or midfield players. If anything, they probably could do with getting rid of a couple, because they've got so many. Well, their next thing is going to be defence, because they've got a few old men there, and Saliba is like next up. He already plays with a few of the Madrid boys at international level. And can't really say no to Madrid. We know that all too well. When Madrid come knocking, kind of hard to say no. And this all relates back to fucking nonsense PSR rules and all that. It's scary, that Madrid team, in like what they're going to do over the next decade. Because they're unopposed. They can do what they want. There's no real rules kind of saying what they can and can't do over there, so they can kind of just sign whoever and however many they want. Whereas you look at in this country, salary caps and PSR and other financial rules, it's a bit like, well, if we keep going down this road of Real Madrid being allowed to do whatever and, you know, British clubs being policed to high heavens and there being no wiggle room whatsoever, then we're going to end up in a situation where our status as one of the greatest leagues and having some of the greatest teams is gone. Because we literally cannot compete because it's illegal. But that's another conversation. But that Real Madrid team, scary, because some of the names that they are going to be linked with defensively, it's going to be wild. Because, I mean, they are so sorted in attack. But, I mean, yeah, I guess Arsenal fans can have their Saliba pocketed De Bruyne. De Bruyne was basically playing as a holding midfielder today, which I don't understand. It's a bit bonkers. And Lukaku might be one of the worst players I've ever watched.
We need to start doing to Arsenal fans what they have done to us about Haaland since the moment he walked through the door. When he goes to Real Madrid, I'm gonna start doing that to Arsenal fans about Saliba. When he goes to Real Madrid, yeah, how about that? When he goes to Real Madrid, because I think Saliba will end up at Real Madrid. English FA gonna wonder why no English teams can win the Champions League anymore because they nerfed the rules into the ground while Madrid run free. That's exactly what Joe said. Madrid can do what they want, and we have to sell to buy. And you can only spend what you earn, and all of our dealings and commercial deals are totally monitored and audited all the time. And if you break any rule or you step out of line in a way they don't like, you get charged. So yeah, the FA and the Premier League are doing a great job at keeping our league fantastic. So fuck them. Right, we're over an hour and a half into the show, an extra long one tonight. I hope you guys appreciate the extra time we did tonight. You know what I mean? Extra time in the Euros, so we did extra time here, and so on and so forth. We'll be back tomorrow or Tuesday, I promise you. Or today is Tuesday now. So, yeah, well, tomorrow. Today, tomorrow or Wednesday. Losing track of the days. We'll be back tomorrow or Wednesday, I promise you. We'll think of some sort of a stream to do, maybe a video, maybe a guest. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe a late night chat, because that's kind of our favorite thing to do around here these days. Hopefully something surfaces that we can talk about, or else we'll just have a general chat with you lot about whatever. Big up to Slam for your super chat. Big up to AK 850 for your super chats. Martin, member for 2 months. JTI for the gifted, and Daniel Thompson, member for 2 months. Big up to all of you for showing love. Big up to everyone who's hitting the like button. Big up to everyone who's subscribed. Keep sharing it around, man. We want to get to 10k. Keep sharing around. Keep hitting the likes. If you haven't done so already, do it. If you're watching on playback, do it. Share it around. And yeah, plenty of fun to be had this summer and a big, big season ahead. So we'll see you tomorrow or Wednesday. Good night and God bless people. Look after each other. Wrap it up, Joe.
Listen to your heart. Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start